What is beauty? What is beautiful? Am I beautiful? What can I do to become beautiful? Why don't I look like her? Is she prettier than me? Am I too fat? Am I too skinny? These questions plague the minds of both adolescent girls and women every day. These questions are what put money into the pockets of the mass media. The mass media, specifically the dieting market, makes billions of dollars off the beauty standards they portray despite the repercussions they create. Beauty standards in the media are not stagnant. The difference between models in the 1960s and the 2000s is shocking. The waist size becomes remarkably smaller, as well as the hips eventually widening yet maintaining a tiny waist. Mannequins in the 1950s were made to mimic the average woman, matching the average waist size of 34 inches. By 1990, mannequin waist sizes had shrunk to 31 inches, while the average woman's waist size had increased to 36 inches. Today, mannequins as small as 24 inches can be found. Runway models have followed this trend. The average woman weighs 140 pounds with a height of 5'4", while the average runway model weighs 110 pounds with a height of 5'11". Most runway models fit the BMI criteria for anorexia. Models for magazines and clothing catalogs are not much better. These models are often overly edited to fit narrow standards set by the media. Proportions are often changed unrealistically and waists are shrunken. Some artists will go as far as changing bodily proportions to match proportions displayed on runways. These photoshopping habits bleed into social media, and crushing standards come with it. Social media sites such as Snapchat and Instagram provide filters for their users to use at their pleasure. However, these filters do more harm than good. Snapchat filters distort the face, often changing features to fit narrow standards set by the mass media. This results in the increasing lack of satisfaction women report in their own body. As if Barbie's sudden plastic surgery in 2000 wasn't enough to raise a red flag about what young girls are given to compare their bodies to, the technology age sets a whole new platform for these insecurities to blossom. Nowadays, children as young as 10 are exposed to the media and therefore learn from a young age what is expected of them. Studies show that by the age of 14, 78% of children have a Facebook account. This means that they are also likely using other social media sites such as Snapchat. Studies show a direct correlation between the amount of social media use and dietary restrictions, as well as bodily dissatisfaction that young girls impose on themselves. Girls who were more active on social media also reported the internalization of the thin ideal, illustrating the media's role in pushing unrealistically thin frames as something to be strived for. The media also affects younger children. Studies show that 80% of all 10-year-olds are afraid of being fat. Many third graders would like to be thinner, according to the same study. Studies have also concluded that the more someone uses social media, the higher risk they are for an eating disorder. Most runway models fit the BMI criteria for anorexia. Thinner models are most preferred by clothing companies to represent their clothing lines and therefore mirror an ideal of beauty for young girls and women. As a result, many women strive to match this standard, unknowingly striving toward an unhealthy ideal. Despite dangers of being severely underweight, body types that fit into the anorexic category are still endorsed by companies and considered the most feminine and desirable. Bulimia is also a common eating disorder caused by bodily dissatisfaction. This disorder causes a person to eat and then induce their gag reflex under the assumption that throwing back up what they ate will keep them skinny and they will continue to fit the standard they see every day. Although thinner bodies are thoroughly endorsed, recent media outlets have begun advertising larger-sized models to reach a larger audience. This was done in an attempt to make models more realistic. Ironically, the acceptance of larger models caused a sharp increase in those who are overweight. Experts believe that recent advertising of larger models has caused some people to consciously, or sometimes deliberately, consume more food to fit into another category set by the mass media. Beauty standards are not always about body types. In the last 10 years, consumption of cosmetic products has skyrocketed. Skincare products in particular. Perfect skin is considered flawless. All of this begs the question, what is beautiful, to be answered? Beauty is not a restricted box. It's not some category for every person to fit or not. Beauty is not something to be strived for or a one-size-fits-all deal. Beauty is natural, beauty is healthy, and most of all, beauty is you.